Have you ever wondered how it is that we focus so much on the environment and climate and policy debates and conversations, but we seem to make so little progress on these topics? I'm Rob Price and I'm here to speak to you about sound money. And if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe, comment, and share the content with your friends and family. The impact of humanity on the changing environment is viewed by many as the issue of the 2020s. Pollution, rising sea levels, changing temperatures, and wildfires are all used as evidence of this growing challenge. Now, I'm not an expert on these subjects, so I'm going to leave that particular conversation, the articulation of it, to others. But what piques my interest is the suggestion by some central banks that they can solve the problem for us. Mark Carney of the Bank of England, or former Bank of England governor, and Christine Lagarde of the European Central Bank are big proponents of this idea that central banks should get into the business of solving climate change. Now, I think this is a very dangerous idea. Let me explain why. Central banks have used low interest rates and debt as a solution to any problem they've seen over the last 30 years. They've encouraged everybody, consumers, businesses, government, to consume in the present rather than wait for the future, to try and make the present look better than it should be. And that's kind of worked out. But there are consequences, right? We've been consuming a lot more than we produce, and that's unsustainable. Every environmentalist knows that sustainability requires us to consume what we produce. Consumption by its very nature is bad for the environment as we're depleting precious resources. And if you look in the US, consumption as a percentage of the economy has grown a lot, from about 60% in the 1960s to 70% in 2020. Now, I'm not saying that we should stop consumption. We should try and control birth rates, live in caves, something silly like that. Consumption is natural and is necessary. But if we're consuming more than we produce, it has consequences. It has consequences for the environment. We're depleting resources. And if we've got policies in place that promote unsustainable debt-fueled consumption, then we invoke those consequences for the environment. Consumption is great. I'm all very happy for us to consume and enjoy ourselves, but we have to be exposed to the natural constraints of what we produce in order for it to be sustainable. And if we are going to debt to have more consumption, then we need to pay market-related interest rates in order to have that constraint. The natural constraints curb unnecessary and inefficient and wasteful production. People think twice about a new car. They don't buy multiple cars. They wear older clothes. They walk to work. All these things conserve precious resources. People talk about, American or modern Western penchant for consumption as though it's a cultural trait. But in reality, it's only possible, this consumption lifestyle is only possible because of the illusion created by debt and low interest rates. Hopefully these relationships make sense to you, logical sense. But here are a couple of pieces of data just evidence the conclusions I'm talking about. American plastic waste has ballooned since the 1970s, when the monetary system became a lot more unsound because we broke the constraints to commodities. Global consumption of primary energy sources has also ballooned since the 1970s. That's why I say that unsound money is the environmental disaster. Now, I'm not saying that unsound money is the only cause of these outcomes, but it's a key cause below the surface that we're not talking about. So here are my 4 key conclusions. 1, I don't think that telling people what to do is going to work. I'm happy to consume less, recycle, cut down carbon emissions. But until the macro factors are addressed, until we end unsound money, I think we're going to continue creating some sort of damage for the environment because we're conducting unsustainable policies. 2, I like to say arsonists can't fight fires. Central banks are the arsonists here. They're at the center of an unsustainable debt-fueled consumption trend which damages the environment. They cannot be given the power to solve a problem where they are fundamentally at the cause. 3, sound money is actually environmentally friendly because it creates constraints on credit, ensuring consumption is based on value additive production. Critics of Bitcoin misunderstand the environmental argument. But actually implementing Bitcoin as money would cut down numerous wasteful activities from society, which helps the environment. 4, Bitcoin is actually a microcosm of this, where people don't want to consume so that they can save capital and invest in Bitcoin, because savings promotes productivity and efficiency, and it's through creating efficiency and productivity gains that we use our scarce resources more efficiently, and as a result have a positive impact on the environment. If you'd like to find out more, please read the full article in the link below, and all the related videos should come up on your screen at the moment.